Good morning, Baltimore. Good morning, everyone. What a way to start your Friday. Getting up, getting the day started. Phone buzzes. Next thing you know, Samuel Basallo is staying in Baltimore for 8 years, the 8-year extension. Let's bring it up. Let's see what we're talking about. Jeff Passan with maybe the best notification I have seen in a very long time. Breaking: catcher Samuel Basallo and the Baltimore Orioles are finalizing an 8-year, one more time, 8-year, $67 million contract extension. Sources tell ESPN. Basallo, who just turned 21, is one of the best prospects in baseball. And less than a week after being called up, he has a long-term deal. Samuel Basallo's deal with the Orioles, once completed, will begin next season and includes a club option as well. Okay. It can max out at $88.5 million and is the largest pre-arbitration extension for a catcher. Mike Elias, you dirty dog. Mike Elias, you dirty dog. And yes, for those wondering, what does this mean? We're going to have to see what the club option adds on, if maybe that adds an extra year or two. They essentially gave him for a lot less money what Roman Anthony got. So you buy out arbitration, you buy out all of those years, you add on 2 years to that as well. And pretty much this now means if he wins Rookie of the Year, and that usually would win them a year of arbitration, so a year goes off, that doesn't matter. Sam Basallo is here until he is 29 plus years old. For the next 8 seasons, Sam Basallo is going to be a Baltimore Oriole. What a day in Birdland. Welcome into the channel. A little cross stream going on right now on the Ryan Ripken Show channel and Kevin and Zach React. So if you're joining in from either channel, welcome in. Appreciate you joining. Ryan Ripken is about to hop in as we speak. But it is a big day in Birdland. We have been waiting to see the shoe drop. We have been waiting for who will be that first contract extension. People have tossed out their Gunner, Adley, Westberg, whoever, even guys in the rotation. People have been saying Trevor Rogers. But here we are. Here we are, baby. Samuel Basallo is the first player to get the extension less than a week after his call-up. Up to $88.5 million for the young catcher. And no, for those wondering, his agent is not Scott Boras, which is probably one of the reasons this got done. But this is big. You get Samuel Basallo, so an 8-year extension. So they're saying starts next year. So 8 years, including that. This is exciting. I'm obviously we'll get into when Rip joins some of the bigger storylines with it. Okay, what does this mean maybe for Adley? What does this mean for the team in the future? But I would be remiss if I don't kind of try to settle down right now. Try to settle down right now and just be excited that the Orioles extended a guy that so many people are saying can be kind of one of the next faces of baseball. Certainly the face of the Orioles, but, Mark DeRosa has talked about last year at the Futures game. He covered it. Roman Anthony and Samuel Basallo, it was those two and the rest. It just sounded different. Everyone you talked talks about Samuel Basallo, it sounds different. It looks different. So if you're new to the channel, hit that like and subscribe button live on Kevin and Zach React and the Ryan Ripken Show channel. And that is because joining me now is the one, the only Ryan Ripken over voice. Ryan, happy Friday.
Hey, happy Friday. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, we can hear you. I think everyone is probably still in shock at the moment, but we can hear you.
Yeah, I mean, everyone looked at their phone and was like, good joke, passing, but kind of mean, kind of cruel.
Yeah.
Right? For what? So many reasons. One, you're going to tell me that the Orioles made an extension. Two, it's for $67 million over 8 years, which I'll explain in a second. But my first reaction was, oh, sugar. And I think I said, yeah, about 10 times, just because, Zach, I don't think it's far-fetched to say this. With everything that's happened with the Orioles this year and where people are worried about the team and what's the future look like, this moment might change a lot of fans' feelings about where the organization is going to go. You finally made the first extension. You signed what you believe is going to be a superstar for your team for the next 8 years. Yeah. And the bigger thing is that Oriole fans know that Sam Basallo is going to be a Baltimore Oriole, and they can really gravitate towards him. And they should, Zach, because he is going to be a special, special player here in Baltimore. It's awesome. It's a really good moment for what's been a very frustrating year for a lot of fans.
Yeah, and just because I see the official, so according to John Heyman, it is an 8-year extension with a club option for the 2034 season. So pretty much it can turn into a 9-year deal up to $88.5 million. This is, we've talked about this before, Ryan, with the risk of signing prospects. And we've talked about other guys, Roman Anthony, a few years ago, Bobby Witt Jr. Those were massive deals. Oddly enough, you look at this, it's an 8-9-year extension at its biggest for $88.5 million, but it really doesn't jump out to me and say this is a massive extension money-wise. It feels like, obviously, this is all based off projection and, how good can Samuel Basallo be. This feels like a deal that maybe we look back in a few years and we're going, wow, Orioles got a steal, because that's the kind of talent this kid has, where after just 14 at-bats, we're looking at him getting $88 million over 9 years and going, wow, what a steal.
Yeah, I mean, so let's take it from the top here for a second. You can still hear me, right? Because know, the Parkway ruins my usually it ruins my mood. Not today. Not today. Not today. But so in general, breaking down the deal. So we talked about it before. Arbitration or guys being in the big leagues, you're typically, all things considered, you can control a guy for 6 years, right? So 6 to maybe 7, depending on how things are when they come up, whatever, so on and so forth. So Sam, until he gets to arbitration, which wouldn't be until, he's already been in the big leagues for X amount of years to start, he wasn't going to be making what the average, amount would be over 67. So he's making $8 million a year, a little over $8 million a year now. He would be like Jackson Holiday is this year. Next year, he's going to be making similar money there, like around league minimum, which, hey, no one is going to complain about league minimum. But when you're talking about upside of a player, $8 million for what you think is going to be a star is great, but it's the overall contract before he becomes a free agent, Zach, when it's all said and done, Sam could have anywhere from, I would like to say, it could be $15 million to $45 million, depending on how arbitration would go for him and if he's balling out. We've seen Bryce Harper, Juan Soto, and some guys get some 1-year arbitration rulings of 15 to 20 some $1 million, right? So you got to take that into account. The other part is being a catcher. The evaluation of catcher, even though it's one of the hardest positions and one of the most valuable positions, you also know that the shelf life is kind of volatile. Like, the production level of an offensive catcher drops after a certain point in time. So
and I was just about to bring that up. Actually, Sam put it in the chat. If Basallo was an outfielder with his type of bat, he'd be getting around 150 million plus. I think it would be much closer to the Roman Anthony deal.
Yes.
Had he been an outfielder, I agree.
1,000%. So like all of that gets taken into account for the O's and for this deal. But yes, like when you look at the value of what Sam could get on the open market right after arbitration, it's going to be looked at as being like, damn, the Orioles got him for that. But I think it's a great deal for both sides. The Orioles, yes, could be saving some money over the period, but they also, no matter what, think about this, because no one wants to look at this equation, and I hope this doesn't happen, but the off chance that Sam doesn't work out, whether he doesn't play well or injury, the Orioles are on the hook for now $67 million. Like, they are investing in a player that has played 4 games in the big leagues. So that is a great thing to see moving forward. And, they're little victories, Zach, but I can't tell you how happy I am that we're going to see him in the orange and black moving forward. And I know probably people are going to wonder, what's that mean for Adley? For me, it doesn't change anything for Adley at the moment. It really doesn't. But what I love is that Sam Basallo, you can get a jersey and you can feel comfortable wearing that for a while.
Yeah.
He's going to be a Baltimore Oriole for a long, long time.
Yeah, I mean, Ryan, it was like my, bet of the day yesterday when I said it's either going to be Basallo homer or sign an extension. It was always, one of it was always one of it was one of the two. People forget I put that second part in. But I think that's the biggest part is now there is someone that people can kind of go, he's the guy. There's no question unless something, weird were to happen. But for the next 8-9 years, you go to Camden Yards, Samuel Basallo is going to be playing in that game. That guy that we have been waiting on for the past few years, that everyone in the back of their head has been like, that guy's a little different. That guy is a little different. You now get to sit there and take a deep breath, exhale, and be like, okay, he's got it. He is going to be a Baltimore Oriole. So it's just fantastic to see. Ryan, I do want to talk about this, though, because I've seen a lot of people on the internet specifically. I'd like to get your opinion. Some people saying, how does Gunnar, how does Adley, how does Westberg react to this news? Are they jealous? Are they mad? Personally, from just reports and stuff, I feel like we've seen enough of Elias is trying to make deals with them that if you're in contract negotiations and another guy accepted his and you haven't yet, I don't think you're getting jealous. But what are your kind of thoughts on that?
To me, it's apples and oranges.
Yeah.
It truly is. I don't want to divulge and go too much into it, but I think Oriole fans can read between the lines that Gunnar Henderson is not going to settle for anything. And it's not because of necessarily Gunnar, but when you're represented, you are going to try to get the best value. And I can say confidently that the Orioles have tried to pursue a guy like Gunnar for well more than what they just offered Sam Basallo. And I'll leave it at that. It's every contract negotiation is different. Every person situation is different. You know, Boris guys, yes, there are changes of saying, oh, Boris guys don't extend, well, or they want to get the big money, and some will say, well, no, it's not every Boris guy. There's a pattern there. Right? That's one pattern. But for other guys, what do you want? What do you want right now? And for Sam Basallo's case, he just solidified his future as a 21-year-old, and now he feels like he can go out there and play free. You know, players make this choice, Zach. You know, and
Yeah.
no one in that locker room is going to be upset with the player, especially with how close these guys are. No one's going to be upset with seeing one of their teammates finally achieve one of their goals in the bigs, and that is to create a safe net now for them and their family. You
Yeah.
know, and now for Sam, that is the upside for Sam. Now the fun begins, like it truly begins for him. He's not
Yeah.
worried anymore, and I hate saying this, Zach. I know what fans want to win. Like no doubt, players want to win too. Like,
Yeah.
that's your job. You got to win. And players will talk about playing the playoffs and winning and popping champagne and champagne going down the backside, and it's ice cold. That's what you live for as a player.
Yeah.
However, the other side of it is, for as great of a year that you can have, the team can move off of you just that quickly if you don't keep producing. So you look at guys like Cedric Mullins, who after his career year in 2021 is now going to wait to get his second contract, this offseason. I know the Orioles talked to him right after that deal, and then they're probably trying to figure out what they wanted to do with Seti, but it led to no contract. And so Seti the whole time, not only is he going to go out and be a gamer, but he's sitting there going, damn, what is my deal? Anthony Santander is the biggest example of that. I will never fault a guy for choosing what they need to do, but I want fans to understand that, Zach. I want to emphasize, no player in that locker room is going to be frustrated with Sam Basallo getting that deal. And guys like Jackson, Westberg, and Henderson, because of being Boris guys and because of the positions that they play and the longevity, those guys are going to get some serious cash if
Yeah.
they live up to it, So, I think it's just completely different,
Yeah.
different scenarios.
I agree. And if you're new to the channel, I do have to either channel where we are cross streaming currently on the Ryan Ripken Show and Kevin and Zach React. Go hit that like and subscribe button. Usually we're live for Ryan Ripken's show. We're going to change up our schedule, but usually 9:45 in the morning is not a usual show time on Friday, but going live to talk about this big news, exciting times in Birdland, and really a good way to kind of kick off the weekend for the Orioles. But I agree, Ryan. I think the biggest thing is I feel great for Sam Basallo. You reached this point, but something that I kind of wanted to get into a little bit. Just a few years ago, the Orioles' presence before Mike Elias got here in the international market was little to none. And one of the things that Mike Elias went out to do was improve their standing and to build an international system for the Orioles to help them produce stars and find stars. And in that first year, they went and they found a catcher who I think a lot of people forget was pretty much a done deal. It looked like he was going to the New York Yankees. And Mike Elias and them said, that's the guy. We're going to go all in on him. They went out in their first year. They get a Samuel Basallo to flip over, be like, you know what? I'll sign with the Orioles. Here we are all these years later. The international system is the best it's ever been in Baltimore. And now you're seeing it already reap the benefits with this Samuel Basallo extension and what he is as a prospect. I don't think people understand that aspect of how well the Orioles how far behind they were at one point and now how much better that system is and how it can help you. Now we're already seeing it with Samuel Basallo, guys like that now coming through the system. It takes a while to build it up, especially with most of these guys are agreeing to who they signed with at 14, 15, 16 years old, years before they're officially supposed to sign. It's hard. So you do have to also credit Mike Elias and them for saying, no, we don't care how hard this is. We don't care how behind the times we are. We're going to go for this. So as much crap as he gets for maybe some of the trades he's made, signings he hasn't made, this is a big part of the Orioles system that is now in a much better space because of kind of what they did and how they've moved that along.
Yeah, and Zach, to your point right there, it's an excellent point on the Orioles. Twofold. You invested in Sam Basallo when he flipped, and then you rewarded him. So you're building trust in that part of it, and it's not perfect. And I know it's not fun when people want to look at winning now, but also you still have to think towards the future. And people hate that in Baltimore because you haven't seen the winning enough over the years. But the talent that you get from the Latin countries, it is those guys. The talent that is over there, if you're able to harness it, your organization is going to be exponentially better because there are so many players that can make an impact throughout the game. And that, if of all the things that Mike Elias in the front office that people are going to be upset about or you don't like, you can talk about development, the one thing that people really need to give him and the front office credit for is saying we are going to open up the Baltimore Orioles internationally. And Zach, I'll even give him credit, even though it was a 35-year-old pitcher in Japan.
Yeah,
they got Tomoyuki Sagano. They are willing to say players from all over. We're going to go scout and adjust. And by the way, Tomo's had a very solid year. I know the up and downs. Very, very solid year.
And I was going to say, we can get into that another time. I've talked about it a few times on Kevin and Zach React and the and Ryan Ripken show. I would re-sign Tomo to a 2-year extension, also just because of how it impacts the international signing game. Long-term, benefit from that. But it is, there's talent. Baseball is a global game, more now than ever, where the talent, and you would be hurting yourself and you're not giving yourself the best chance to build the best team if you are not looking at literally every corner of this earth for ball players. I think that's what they've done. That's what they've kind of continued to build in the Mike Elias era. And, Ryan, I will say this is a big day for Birdland. This is a big day for Orioles fans, for Sam Basallo. It's also a big day for Mike Elias. This guy gets a lot of crap for he's not trying to win. He doesn't care about the extensions. He's not doing this. He's not doing that. Love him or hate him, ever since the draft, Mike Elias has nailed the draft for what we've seen. Now, that's a very in the moment. We don't know what these guys will become. But from the jump, writers, analysts scouts were very bullish on the Orioles' return in the draft. Looks like, even though I know people are upset that we traded so many guys, they got 16 prospects in return that people seem to like. But then extending Samuel Basallo, I think, does kind of give fans that little bit of, okay, we are trying to do this. We are trying to keep our young talent. That thing where everyone's like, for some reason, think Mike Elias hates the young talent and wants to trade them all. It is, the building blocks are getting secured. And I think this was a big step for everyone, for the Orioles organization, a step in the right direction to competing not only now, but long term.
Yeah, no doubt about it. It's a big moment for the organization in general. And I got to hop off here in a second, Zach. But to finish that point, This move is what I led off with when I came on. This move could signify a whole new feel in the Orioles fan base and with the organization.
Yeah.
Extended a young player, something you haven't done in years. What Adam Jones was the last one, but Adam wasn't even a guy that came from your system. Keep in mind, right? So, this now shifts everyone's hope for what you're going to be in 26. So right now, off the list that you proved that you could extend a young guy. Now it's going to be continue to develop guys, get this team ready to win in 2026.
Yeah.
Goal now, but for Birdland, I'm trying to say this for a long time. The ownership coming in want it just like that, Zach. This year was the ownership's first off season in general. I'm not making any excuse for it, but when we see certain lines, I don't always believe what's put out in the media about, hey, we're spending or we're doing this or we're doing that. I know the Orioles were interested in a lot of players. Yeah, it might have priced them out. But I know ownership is also trying to assess what do we have now? What do we have going into 2025? But more importantly, what are we focusing on moving into the future? We know that now one of those guys was Sam Basallo from the jump, and they got that done. So I'm really excited to see what they're going to do in year two, and obviously it's going to be a big year for the Baltimore Orioles to figure things out. But, Zach, I got to run.
Yeah.
I got to go do an interview. Holy Shirts and Pants members, you'll find out who that is in just a little bit.
Yep, so you go do that. Have a fit. What a great way to start your Friday, Rip, and you have a great one. So, Ryan Ripken, everybody, slow claps. I guess snaps. We'll snap for him. Great job. And what a fun day in Birdland this truly has been. If you're new to either channel, we are cross-streaming at the moment over on the Ryan Ripken Show and Kevin and Zach React. Hit that like button. Hit that subscribe button on either channel, wherever you may be. Also, if you want to give me a follow on X to follow all my in-the-moment reactions during the game to news like this, at Zach Bollinger 18. What a day, and Wally, appreciate you. Isn't Gunnar arbitration eligible next year? He's going to demand big money. So do you think from reports we've heard, the Orioles have offered Gunnar a significant deal that maybe people would be uncomfortable with, and they have turned it down. I think Scott Boras is playing the long game with that one. But the Orioles, from what we've heard and the news, they are trying to get Gunnar extended every waking moment of every waking day. And yeah, I see. Next one I would do is Trevor Rogers. You get Trevor Rogers, you lock down a starting pitcher in this market. I think that's the next step. If you have Rogers, you've extended Basallo, then we are really, really cooking. What a day. What a Friday. What a way to kick off the weekend. What a way to kick off the weekend. I'm telling you right now, what game last night? Well, Dylan Beaver's homer. But besides that, what game last night? This has been extremely fun. Couldn't have asked for better news in the morning, honestly. I like this. Let's go. Everyone in the chat, whichever chat you're in, scale of 1 to 10, what are the vibes for the Orioles' future after this extension? I'm going to put them all the way up to an 8.5. Orioles' future, 8.5, because every person that you talk to, every media analyst, every scout, every reporter, every coach, manager who has seen Samuel Basallo play has the same thing to say. It's different. It sounds different. It looks different. The way he does it, the way his bat speed, his bat to ball contact. I mean, last night, basic single, 102.8 off the bat, straight frozen rope to center field. This guy's special, and I'm extremely happy that we're going to see him in an Orioles uniform for the next 8 to 9 years, till 2034. How's that sound? Samuel Basallo, Baltimore Oriole until 2034. How about them apples, baby? How about them apples? And yeah, he looks like, especially, let's talk about it. First at bat of your career, you get hit. Like, first at bat of his career, he's standing in the box and gets hit. Doesn't matter. His next at bat grounds out. Bat over that has to get robbed of a homer. Then gets a 2 RBI single. He's come up in massive moments. Samuel Basallo, a future, is a part of the present and officially a part of the future for the Baltimore Orioles. Well, I appreciate everyone who tuned in. A little bit of a faster show today because, well, obviously, Sam Basallo news. We had to hop on. For Holy Shirts and Pants members on the Ryan Ripken Show channel, you will see who Ryan is talking to right now. In a little bit, he is going to do the interview actually at 10:30. So appreciate everyone who tuned in. Hit that like and subscribe button over on the Ryan Ripken Show channel. Over on Kevin and Zach React, follow me at Zach Bollinger18 if you do not already over on Twitter X. Appreciate everyone who tuned in. What a day in Birdland. Orioles play again tonight versus the Astros at the Yard. We'll be live right after the game here on Kevin and Zach React. If you're new, if you're viewing this on the Ryan Ripken Show, over on Kevin and Zach React, we are live after every single game, all 162, the good, the bad, the ugly. So appreciate everyone who tuned in, and we will see you later tonight over on the Kevin and Zach React channel immediately following the Orioles game. What a day in Birdland. Have a day. Have a great stinking Friday. Let's go, baby. Woo!